Oxford was a little bit of a structured program, but you deliberately signed up for it so that it would allow you to stretch you beyond your comfort zone. And sometimes, we have to do those things. We have to sometimes book ourselves, because then we can't talk ourselves out of a situation. You have to go through with it. The number one thing that we always as leaders want to protect is our confidence. Yeah. When we lose confidence, we lose faith in our abilities and in our ability to move forward. Get ready for the next iteration of you on your path to becoming wealthy. On this show, you'll get the insider's view on wealth creation, the class none of us got taught in school, with my co-host, daughter, and beginning investor, Sophia Bosch. And now, let's get started.
Welcome to the Becoming Wealthy podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Bosch, and I'm here with my co-host,
Michelle Bosch.
And today we will be discussing our summer and the theme of building confidence throughout the summer.
Building confidence throughout the summer. For 6 weeks last year when I was in Germany getting treated,
Plus,
for Lyme.
Papa was also gone with you.
Yeah, but Papa was, and now
But he was there more than you were. But this was, truly, he was completely
off radar. Yeah,
we still texted things like that, but the time difference and just his walking, and he was exhausted, and he was always doing something else, that it didn't really give time to ask questions or connect as much.
And what did you realize?
I realized how much I actually was depending on Papa for a lot of things. He wakes me up in the mornings, he makes me breakfast, he answers a bunch of my questions, he helps me with homework. It was all I didn't realize how much I needed him.
Mm-hmm. And now, for some, I know some of that you came to me, but a bunch of the other stuff that you've been working on that you would have normally gone to him, you then realize that if you could apply yourself a little bit more or spend a little bit more time, you could figure it out on your own. And so you recognizing that you could figure things out on your own was on another confidence builder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But nevertheless, the reunion was emotional. It was fantastic to be together with him again. And then, but there was a little bit of a mixture of fun there, because you went for 3 days.
I went on a weekend trip with a family friend of ours, Natalie. She's come on the podcast before. She was my former au pair that we're still really close with. She decided to meet me in a city called Mannheim.
To go to a concert?
A Tom Odell concert.
Woo-hoo.
So, but the thing is, how do I get to Mannheim? It is a 2.5 hour
train ride. Yeah.
And my grandparents are not about to bring me there. So I had to take the German train system, navigate that all on my own. And honestly, the German train system is not how it used to be. Everything comes late. It is a whole mess. So I had 5 minutes to catch my next train.
Originally, you had 20 or 25 minutes to catch it.
Yeah, originally it was 40 minutes to catch it, and then all of a sudden it came 35 minutes late. So all of a sudden that gap became tiny to catch my train that I caught. So I had to take 2. One from a little town called Singen in the south, all the way to Stuttgart, and then Stuttgart to Mannheim.
Yeah.
But that switch in Stuttgart
was a 5-minute switch, and you made it.
I made it. The train was already there, though, so I was I just got on the train. I didn't care if it was the wrong carriage or wrong area. As long as I'm in the train, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So basically, you went out of your shell, you spoke to someone in German, you networked with her. She gave you the contact information of this second girl.
Yeah.
You reached out to a complete stranger on text as well.
Yep.
And now, you have that relationship going. What else happened, Sophia, that I think contributed to an amazing summer of growth and that really boosted your confidence?
Yes, I did a 2-week program at Oxford.
Yeah.
And that truly helped my confidence because it was basically college for 2 weeks, meeting brand new people. I had to have the confidence in myself to talk to new people, be open, very open, not be afraid to show who I really was, because it doesn't help you to not show who you are, like
who you really are.
Who you really are.
And why was that so I would say important for you, that specifically that part of like showing your personality and not being scared, being unapologetic about who you are?
Yeah.
Why was that so important for you to discover that actually, darn, you have a really good one. You have a really good, in that you have a really good personality.
And other people out there can see it.
Yeah.
And really connect with it. So early on this year, I had a little bit of trouble with my friends. They made me almost feel like they were being very judgmental, in a sense, of whatever I said. So I kept keeping my mouth shut because I was scared of being judged all the time. Like, it was so exhausting. So
pretty much anything that you would contribute with or say?
Yeah. Anything I would say would be, like, criticized or turned down or something. There was some always commentary on what I said, and I'm like, what am I saying that's so wrong? Like, and so it really made me overthink and shut down almost, and it made me feel like I didn't even have a personality anymore. So the fact that people saw it, people wanted to connect, like the fact that someone saw it, someone told me, oh my God, I love your personality, made me realize, okay, wait, I do have a personality. And then I realized those were the people that actually could see it, and they wanted to connect with me on it.
And that was also a confidence booster, I guess.
Like, I was singing, dancing with them, and then all of a sudden I was sprinting.
So the switching was no longer something that scared you, and more than anything, being on the train alone all of a sudden was not something that scared you anymore, because you saw amazing people actually having fun on the train.
Yeah, there was also like a bachelorette trip that happened to have a speaker. So the dude came up like, can I Bluetooth connect? And he starts putting on some like classic, like all the Scottish people knew what
the music,
the songs were. And so they were singing, dancing, like they...
Awesome. So that was another confidence booster then, knowing that you can hang out there on your own and have fun, even with complete strangers, singing, you know, your heart out. And once you got to Oxford, you had the opportunity, like you said, to really
be on my own, show my independence, gain that connections that I was lacking
and really craving. Oxford was a little bit of a structured program, but you deliberately, signed up for it so that it would allow you to stretch you beyond your comfort zone. And sometimes, we have to do those things. We have to sometimes book ourselves, because then we can't talk ourselves out of a situation. You have to go through with it.
We already paid the deposit.
You had already paid the deposit. You had already paid the balance. We flights were booked, and once you have,
there's no going back.
There's no going back. So sometimes it's important for us to put ourselves in environments that are completely different, that are completely unknown to us, where we might not even speak the language. And I'm not just talking about the language of English, Spanish, German, or Turkish, but sometimes when we don't speak the language of the topic that is being discussed. Overwhelm doesn't happen just amongst teenagers, Sophia.
Yeah.
It also happens amongst adults. And I'm going to tell you about a point in my life where I felt a little bit overwhelmed, because I felt like I didn't quite have all the skill sets, that I didn't have quite the time and just the experience to step into this new role that I was stepping into.
Right.
And that's quite frankly when I decided to step in to the CEO position of the Land Profit Generator, coaching company. I knew that we needed to do some reorganization of our team. I knew that we needed to really understand marketing and sales. That is a department in the company that when I basically stepped into that
was
role
almost non-existent.
Was not existent, and I was quite overwhelmed. I was anxious about the future of the company, about my abilities to actually perform and really help us navigate through some of the most difficult, challenging times like COVID was, for a lot of business owners. And I know that you have had a similar situation lately. Can you tell us about a few weeks back what happened?
I had too much stuff going on and I started to cry. Like, it was not good. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm willing to talk about it on this podcast. But
thank you so much for, being vulnerable and being okay with being vulnerable, with me and with whoever else is listening, because this is not something that just happens to a teenager that just started sophomore year, that just started at LandBiz,
right,
that actually just started a podcast, but that has a bunch of other extracurriculars happening in your life. And including now also you decided to become also a leader for a nonprofit. And so there was a lot of things that happened coming from a summer where you hadn't done, a whole lot, except for your land biz.
Honestly, I needed that though.
So
I wouldn't be as far as I would right now if I didn't take that time to rest. But this would have happened earlier, but still.
Yeah, but
it would have happened.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is that for us adults, when we step into something new, like you just stepped into a new year of high school and into new things, and ventures and projects and so on and so forth, it's deemed to happen that we feel overstretched, that we feel a little bit overwhelmed, and that we feel uncertain and anxious about the future. And I think one of the very first things that, we both said, mom and dad said, was like, well, welcome to the world of grown-ups and of entrepreneurship and of leadership in general, and part of leading others begins with leading ourselves, and we cannot lead others if we are feeling overwhelmed and overstretched.
And it helped. If not, I would have probably failed that test. But if I got like a B, so that's good enough for me right now.
But remember when you came back with a B, you were like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard and we got this tutor and I have an 89%. And what was our very first thing that we said? Sophia, put things into perspective. When we're out there in the real world, an 89 in chemistry when you're in 10th grade is not going to matter. No person that is recruiting,
Plus, I can still fix it. It's just the end of the first quarter.
It's just the end of the first quarter. You can bounce back. You have done that in the past, we know, in other subjects, right? Exactly.
Oh, that was a struggle.
So you were able to look at something in the past where you had struggled and overcame, and you gained some confidence by looking at the past things that you have done where you have actually gone on an upward trajectory after having a little bit of a struggle in the beginning. So we reminded you of that as well. We also started looking at all your extracurriculars, and what did we do with for example, with piano?
Oh, piano. So I was working on this really long piece. It's like a
Very difficult,
It's like Tchaikovsky or whatever. It's like 5 pages, if you know what that is. I was not even halfway through. The recital is in 2 months. That's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Especially with the little time that I have to practice already.
Yeah.
It's not bad. So I decided, me and my piano teacher decided to choose a different piece.
Yeah.
A little easier, but one that's still like, it still helped me with my skills or like refine my skills, I guess. But we picked an easier piece so I can participate in the recital and feel confident in my abilities.
Now, we suggested that you advocate for yourself with the piano teacher. But while you were in that moment of overwhelm, did that idea come to mind that you could actually ask for that, and therefore...
No.
Yeah, when we're in the middle of it, we're not able to sometimes see that.
Vision.
Exactly. You have tunnel vision and you're basically stuck, like I said earlier, in the undercurrent of just the overwhelm. And it's important to kind of like have a moment of like, okay, stop everything that I'm doing. Let me reset. Let me take a look back or step back and look at all the things that I can do. And sometimes it requires that we look for help. We ask for help.
Yeah.
You asked us, can you guys help me figure out what else I can do in order to, not feel this way? So that was the third thing that we asked, or the second thing that we asked was that. So we wanted you to do JV
Which
with
is
someone.
fine.
Exactly.
It's fun.
It is totally fine. So now all 5 deals are going to be happening. You're going to be earning perhaps a little bit less in profits.
That's okay.
But
I have no bills to pay, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. The only bill to pay that you have is the loan
to pay you back
for the mailings.
Yeah, but still.
But we already calculated that is going to be taken care of with even the lower profits from JVing. You're still going to be able to take care of that, and you'll still have enough money to reinvest into your business and continue your mailings, and possibly continue hiring somebody to help you with all the due diligence, right? So that you can do all that comping much easier. Yeah?
That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the moral of the story, for anyone that is listening or that is watching, is that sometimes we forget, number one, that we have access to a network of people that can help us, that can either give us perspective, that can give us the opportunity to reprioritize our time, that could give us the opportunity to perhaps delegate some of the things that we have, going on on our plate, and that we forget that the basis of our ability to cope and our ability to sometimes even gain that perspective requires that we be having really good sleep and rest and prioritizing our health and our well-being. And that it requires, exactly that we look at, okay, where am I cutting corners on my well-being and in my health that are not allowing me to really see the big picture and have perspective. So once we prioritize all of that, now how do you feel about your piece right now for piano, for example?
Well, I need to learn it, but so far I looked at it yesterday, and it seems much easier, much better.
Yeah,
doable.
And exactly, and that's the thing. The very first thing
I'd rather do something easier, but to the best of my ability, than do something really hard halfway.
Exactly. Especially because the number one thing that we always as leaders want to protect is our confidence.
Yeah.
When we lose confidence, we lose faith in our abilities and in our ability to move forward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so right now you're moving forward towards recital, which is coming up, in December, but you're moving forward now with a sense of like, okay, I looked at the piece, I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For me,
because I got to a part in the music, there is no white on that paper. There's just so many black notes. Like it's not, like, it's scary that
but the new one is much better, right?
Yeah, the new one. I'm still gonna go back to that old one.
Yeah, exactly.
It up, finish what I started, but
whoever your commitments are with, to perhaps deliver on something on a much lower scope that can allow you to still continue developing your skills, but still feel like confident about being able to complete, the job that you have been assigned. Especially with when it comes to, I think, the topic that I thought we could perhaps discuss today, and that is the difference between somebody having an expectation of you and somebody having belief in you, and that belief that they have in you eventually becoming self-belief, something, that where you become, self-sourcing.
Because they want you to reflect on the first quarter, see how you did. It's basically a little check-in and see if you're not doing as well as you want to, what are some things that you could be doing, and the teacher understands them and they will help you.
Okay.
That's the whole idea of the reflection.
And I love that, because that is much more about mentorship than about, and therefore more about self-belief, that you can, over a period of a longer time frame, basically evolve and improve, and on the things that you are doing well, that you actually look back and because we can fall into the trap of always being in the gap. And what I mean by that is, like, where are we falling short, and so if you look into towards the, toward in the rear view mirror and look at the things that you did well, I like that, because it allows you to be in the gain versus the gap. And my mentor Dan Sullivan is a big believer of, entrepreneurs really needing to not just look at the gap and where I'm falling short, but also where, look at how far I've come. So that is a fantastic thing, I think, that the school has started, and that allows you to start having some self-belief in, like, oh, look at all the things that I have accomplished. And therefore, even if I haven't done a few things well, you have a little bit of more self-belief in that if I've been able to accomplish all these things in the past, I can overcome these obstacles or these hurdles or these areas of improvement. And I have in another 6-month period, to do that going forward. And it's a longer time horizon, or the next quarter to improve upon. And I love that. And I just basically wanted you to recognize the difference between an expectation and being trained. Because I think right now a lot of kids and schools in general, if there is not an aspect of reflection and contemplation.
But there's still the expectation that you do them.
Yeah.
That you do the reflection.
But I actually have asked around, and there's not very many actually public schools where a reflection is actually happening, or if it's happening, it's not across the board. It's because a specific teacher believes in not just teaching you and having expectations for you on a daily and weekly basis, but that teacher also wants you to have this kind of contemplative thought, and what I mean by contemplative thought is a thought that is much more expansive, that looks over a longer period of time, the things that I nailed, because what that does, Sophia, is something very, very important. That is that it allows you to compact, basically extract the wisdom from the past, and basically compound that into the future. Yeah. And on the things that you didn't so well, extract the wisdom there as well. What can I do different? And basically
try something else.
And exactly fix it, readjust, basically, and move into the future with a longer time frame. And why is that so important? Because I think you're getting the just right now as you are preparing for this SAT, that and even in your land business, that most things in life are not like a 24-hour turnaround. Yes, there will be some things in entrepreneurship,
But
where
SAT I've been having to work at
for a long
time.
Right?
Yeah.
What was the difference and basically, was there a jump in the score, like a
So December I sat cold,
Uh-huh.
and then March I
Had 3 months of
preparation. I had an 110 point jump.
That's
gain.
good job.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm proud.
I'm
proud of that.
of seeing it through.
And I also
And are you happy with that score, or what are you?
I am happy with it. It can get me into college for sure. But I'm actually very happy with the English portion, because on all the other practice tests I'd done, I never got to the point where I liked my score. But for this SAT, my English score was the highest it's ever been,
Uh-huh.
even with practice, which is
Another one, go.
the math was also really good, but I feel like there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely. So now you're looking now March to June. There's another 3 months out, and then possibly even August, which would mean an additional 3 months. So now we will have been working at this for 8 months, and in every single time there's been improvement, right?
Yeah.
In the practice test, in the actual sitting right now in March.
Well, sometimes actually the pattern of like I take one practice test, it goes well, and then it goes a little down, and then it goes up, and then it goes a little down.
But you seem to have like broken the curse with that one, right? No?
That was part of it.
Okay, great. So you got to keep it going.
Yeah. Remember I took the extra thing?
But what did that 110 point swing do for
it boosted my confidence.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Something that is worth doing, it's worth doing in my opinion. If you've never done it before, it's worth doing poorly. And something that we do repeatedly where we are basically building that muscle, it's undeniable that it will improve,
Yeah.
And so that's part of self-belief as well, that comes with this longer time horizon.
It for sure.
To see certain things through. And sometimes I feel like when we think things are just on expectation basis in a 24 or 48 hour turnaround, that you don't have the time to develop that patience to see things through, and in the consistency to stay at it through the ups and downs, because like you just said right now, that there was this pattern of like you were scoring in the practice as well, and then down. So there's an emotional roller coaster. Guess what? Entrepreneurship, the same, right?
Yeah.
As you know, with your land.
Yeah.
So
I will say though, it has put me a little bit at ease, because now that I have worked hard for that, if needed, I could use that to like super score or something. Like now I feel a little bit calmer.
Now, can I, and perhaps we can wrap up with this little secret. Can I tell you that the moment that you start basically increasing your horizon, your time horizon, from just a few days, a few weeks, to months, to quarters, to a year, that allows you, along with reflection, thinking time about how did I do so far, what things I did well, and what things do I need adjustment on, that is the secret to creating momentum. I just wanted us to have a conversation basically and chat about the difference between what I see, of school systems creating expectation versus creating self-belief. Yeah, and I think, actually some of your teachers are doing a decent job there. And I think the school might be doing also really good with those reflections that they're having you guys do. So with that, I hope this episode was helpful. Again, shared with an important person in your life. This, I think, is not just uniquely perfect for a teenager. This is all of us. It's important to really compound the good in our life and have reflection time, thinking time, so that we can extract the wisdom from the things that are not going so well, and we can compound the good and readjust going forward. And so if you loved this episode, which I think you may have, I'm like very confident.
Yeah.
Share it with someone important in your life. Leave us a 5-star review. That's most important. That definitely helps us, right, Sophia?
Yes.
So see you on the next episode.